Okay, we are opening the meeting of Fall River Planning Board. It's Wednesday, March 17th, 2021 at 6 o'clock. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made, whether perceived or unperceived, by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. And participating in this meeting remotely, Mario Luciola.
Here.
Elizabeth Andrade.
Present.
John Ferrera.
Here.
And Gloria Pacheco is absent this evening. I'm Cynthia Savigny. And we're all set. Okay, item number 1. Oh, also, let's not forget, we have Patty Aguiar, who is the recording clerk, William Kenny, who is the city planner, and Alex Mello from the Fall River Government TV. We also have, Attorney Kim Fiola is also present. Item number 1. Item number 1, Courtney Street roadway improvement. Consideration of the proposed improvement plan for Courtney Street as described in the plan entitled Roadway Improvement Plan, prepared for Bristol Pacific Homes by SciTech Incorporated, dated February 3rd, 2021, as set forth in the proposed roadway agreement by and among the City of Fall River, Bristol Pacific Homes Incorporated, and Stein Realty and Development Corporation. This item was tabled from the March 10th, 2021 meeting. Ken? Bill?
I can report on that. We had a meeting this morning with engineering and community utilities and community maintenance. Spoke with Mr. Carrig and Mr. Steen and Dan Aguiar, their engineer. And we've made what I hope will be the final agreement as to what the work on the ground is going to look like on Courtney Street. The next step is to clarify how the city is ultimately going to take charge of that 40-foot right-of-way, and also to redraft the agreement. So, progress is being made, and I had hoped we might have an agreement for you to look at for today, but we didn't make it. So what I'm going to ask is that you table this item to the next regular meeting, and I don't have the date. Maybe Patty's got it, but if we could just table it by announcement here at the public session that it's going to be at the next meeting at it'll be a 5:30 meeting, which is our normal meeting. And when will that be, Patty?
I'm checking me 1 second.
I got April 14th.
14th.
Yeah, that would be my recommendation, to table until April 14th at 5:30.
Okay, any conversation? Anyone wish to comment? Then we will take a roll call to table this item to the April 14th, 2002 meeting.
All right.
I'll make motion to table to April 14.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, Mario Luciola,
Present. Oh, yes.
Elizabeth Andre,
Oh, she's muted.
I'm sorry. Hello.
a vote
Hello?
to table, Beth?
Yeah.
Your
Yes.
vote, okay.
I'm sorry,
And
yes.
we have John Ferrera.
Yes.
I'm Cynthia Savigny. I vote yes as well. And we have item O2, which is the Lessington Estates Subdivision. We're going to have a status report by the city planner regarding work remaining to be completed at Lexington Estates Subdivision. This item was tabled from the March 10th, 2021 meeting. Bill?
Sometimes we can't seem to catch a break with people being sick and partially disabled and in and out. Dennis Silva, the city inspector, and Chris J. Gallagher, the new engineer, were supposed to meet at that site the end of last week to firm up the details as to the work that's going to be done. Mr. Gallagher was out sick for 3 days with a severe dental issue. He's recovered, he's back in the saddle, but they've got to reschedule that meeting. So I'm going to recommend we table this one to the next regular meeting as well for a further
Okay.
report.
Any comments? Now vote to table.
I make a motion that we table this to the April 14th meeting.
I second that. I
Okay,
second.
we're going to take a roll call on this. Mario Luciola,
yes,
Elizabeth Andre,
Yes.
John Ferrera,
Yes,
Cynthia Savigny. I also vote yes. Item number 1, pursuant to 760 CMR 66.00, to hear all persons wishing to be heard on a proposal from material amendment to the city's central housing development zone and plan established under the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40V, to incorporate within the boundaries of the existing zone and plan certain premises owned by Karen Langevin and Roland Langevin, known as the Notre Dame Rectory, located at 529 Eastern Avenue, together with adjacent parcels. Copies of the proposed amended zone and plan are available by contacting the planning board. And on this item, we also have a letter from Mayor Coogan to President of the City Council, Cliff Pont, which everyone I'm sure has received a copy of, regarding the proposed amendment to the central HD zone. Do you wish me to read the entire letter?
I think it's adequate if you just accept it and file it as part of the record of the meeting.
And that's
And I-
what we will, that's what we will do then. That'll save a lot here. So
And Mr. Fayol is going to make a complete report and explanation of what this is all about. So
very good. And so, Mr. Fiola,
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good evening to members of the board. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak on this behalf. I'm here on representing Karen and Roland Langevin, who are 2 Fall River residents residing at 410 Grove Street here in Fall River. They are the owners of the Notre Dame Rectory. They've submitted a request to the city to amend the City of Fall River Central HD zone to include their property, which is located on 521 Eastern Avenue, as well as adjacent parcels to that property that you should have identified on the information that you have before you tonight. The purpose of the amendment to the plan is to allow the Langevins to move forward with the redevelopment of the Notre Dame Rectory for market rate housing purposes, so as to take advantage of specific credits that are available to them through the Massachusetts Housing Development Improvement Plan program, so that they can facilitate the rehab of the property and convert the former Notre Dame property into residential units, thereby creating 14 units, which will not only add to the diversity of the city's housing stock, but also repurpose a historically significant Fall River landmark. I think many of you are familiar with the location upon which I speak, the Notre Dame's Lawrence Church, which was located behind the rectory until it met its demise via a fire. That was a significant landmark within the Flint neighborhood. In addition to the church that was there, you also had an orphanage, a convent, a school, the rectory upon which we speak, a brothers resident, and an off-site cemetery. The properties themselves were developed in the late 1800s into the early 1900s, and the church, after the fire took place, was razed. A new church was constructed there, but the rectory pretty much remained as is, and without any development. Throughout the years, the rectory has suffered somewhat from neglect, but the bones of the building itself are very strong. The architecture within the building itself is magnificent. The woodwork that you see in there cannot be replicated today. And so the Langevins have taken upon themselves to rehab this, but in order to do it, they need to have the state tax credits to assist them in the overall cost of development. And the only way you can tap into the state tax credits is if the city decides to amend the zone, which they previously approved in 2016. This will be the first market rate housing development in the Flint neighborhood per se. There has been some additional market rate at the end of Alden Street, the Cornell Mill, but this here is a pretty significant signature property that's going to be well positioned. It has the support of the neighborhood for the reuse purpose, and it will not only create market rate housing rental units, but it will also create 2 CPA units to the extent that the project is funded through CPA, as well as the possibility of 2 home units, which will be made available to people at 60% area median income. The process of which we need to follow is that they needed to submit a letter to the mayor, which they did. That letter went to the city council. The city council has referred this project back to the planning board for the public hearing, upon which we are discussing this issue tonight. To the extent that this is favorably decided upon by the planning board, it will go back to city council for final approval. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have, but I think in the overall scheme of things, as we continue to try to diversify Florida's housing stock, and we see the demand that's out there for market rate housing, the preservation and the rehab of this property for a residential use, I think speaks well of the city's ability to offer this type of housing to Fall River residents and residents beyond the city. So I'll be happy to answer any questions.
And one quick question, Mario, on parking.
All parking will be contained off-site. No parking is necessitated on street.
Thank you.
Yes, John.
This came before us also at our CPC meeting. I just want to say, well, since I've been on CPC and I volunteered, remember, about a year ago, it's amazing the properties with the heritage that Fall River has. I remember the church. I was young. I was in school, and I ran down there when Notre Dame caught fire. The buildings that we've lost, I was thinking about it last night, mostly due to fire. I don't know too many by wrecking ball, but it's been, all our major losses have been fires. And, we constantly complain, and people complain about neglect of the buildings and how the buildings get run down, so on and so forth. We complained about how much financing that we have with the city, with the tight budgets, and we don't have any. To per se, with CPC, we allocate some funds, and and it's amazing the stuff that I've learned, how many historical buildings there are out there. And here's a couple here that's, I mean, they're ready to invest $4.5 million to do this project. I mean, I don't know anybody else. This is public. That would go out on a limb to do something like this. And not getting a million of units, they're only getting 14 units. But to me, this is saving what little we have of the Notre Dame memory since the church is gone. Yeah, we have a new church there, but this is still part of the old diocese and all the Irish and on St. Patty's Day, Irish and all those who congregated to that church way back when. And, it's amazing. I give kudos to folks who are willing to step up. I mean, we've got a few of them, Tony Cadero. I mean, we can name a bunch of them who have really stepped up to the plate and redid a lot of these structures that we have that the city wouldn't be able to do with the funding that we do have. I have no problem whatsoever with this. If nobody has any issues with it, I'd like to make a propose that we amend the HD zone to accept this parcel and the adjacent parcels for the Notre Dame Rectory.
I second that.
Any questions, any concerns?
Now,
Then we'll,
just the one
Yes.
to, excuse me, I just want to congratulate John to
yes,
very well put, because it is in a set to keep the property and a property that's a value within the city and historical, is a place. So, yes. Well said, John. Roll call?
yes. We will have a roll call on that, and we will begin with Mario Luciola,
Yes.
Elizabeth Andre,
Yes.
John Ferrera,
Yes,
and I'm Cynthia Savigny. I vote yes. The only other item that we have is to receive and place on file the letter from the mayor to the city council regarding the amendment to central HD zone. So we're going to have a vote to place this correspondence on file. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we place the mayor's letter of acceptance of this project on file, please.
Do I have a second?
A second?
And we'll have a roll call. Mario Luciola,
Yes.
Elizabeth Andre,
Yes.
John Ferrera,
Yes.
Cynthia Savigny, and I'll vote yes. I don't believe we have any additional public input. And so, do we, Bill, anything else?
Not that I'm aware of. No, I don't think so.
Okay, so then,
Let me just, if I could just say one thing to Mr. Fiola while he's still with us.
yes,
The next step is for us to report this vote back to the city council to tell them that it's the board's recommendation that this amendment be enacted. So I'll get that ready tomorrow, and I'll send you a copy of it. And if you don't get it by the end of the day, that means you should give me a call and say, Bill, come on, get moving. Okay?
No problem. And listen, thank you very much to the inside. I appreciate your willingness to look at this project and also approve it. Very much appreciated.
okay, thank you. Okay, and so we will have a vote to adjourn.
I'll make a
We have no
motion to
public,
adjourn.
we got no citizens input.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I did not
Mm.
see anyone for citizens
Okay.
input. Do we have anyone for citizens input?
Not that I'm
No.
aware of.
So
No, there
Oh.
is, okay,
Just
good.
wanted to cover that base.
yes, thank you. Vote to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, please.
Motion.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second,
I'll second.
we'll have a roll call. Mario Luciola,
Yes,
honey. Elizabeth Andre,
Yes.
John Ferrera,
Yes.
I'm Cynthia Svigny, I vote yes. Thank you all and have a nice St. Patrick's Day.
You
You
are
too.
St.
Thank
Patty's Day.
you.
Happy St. Patty's Day.